Hi everyone, welcome to our presentation about different career pathways for psychology majors at UC Davis. My name is Jillian and I'm one of the staff advisors for the psychology major, and I'll be your host for today. So here's an overview of what to expect for today. We're going to start off looking at the career development wheel. Then we're going to talk about the RIASEC, which is a concept to help understand career interests and how they might relate to various jobs. Then we're going to dive into some specific common career pathways that students in the psychology major go into, and we'll also share some resources at the end for further exploration. Finally, if you are watching this video for mandatory advising and you have a hold, stay till the end for the link to the quiz. Okay, so this is the career development wheel that the Internship and Career Center uses to cover the steps that you're going to go through as you make career decisions throughout your life. Today's talk is going to focus on the first two sections, the self-exploration section in purple and the work research section in green. Before you can start making a career decision, you have to have a decent understanding of yourself, your values, what is important to you in the way that you live and work, your interests, what do you like to do, what motivates you. Your skills are also important, what are your strengths, what are you good at? And then finally, your personality. How do your personality characteristics influence the type of work that you do and the environment that you choose to pursue? Once you have a better understanding of yourself, work research is the next logical step. So understanding what kind of jobs are even out there. That's where the second half of our talk is going to come in, where we're going to go over common fields and job titles that are out there. To just briefly go over the next steps, once you know yourself and the world of work, it's time to get some experience, right? So this is where internships, volunteering, part-time jobs, things like that come in. These experiences can help solidify your decision and lead you to the decision-making step. And then once you have a decision made of at least the path that you're going to take right after you graduate, that's where your job search skills are going to come in. Things like networking, creating resumes and cover letters, interviewing skills. Then once you use those skills to land your job, you're going to need to manage your career. So manage things like boss expectations, work-life balance, making connections, relationships with your coworkers and supervisors. One thing I really want to point out here is that even though this process is laid out beautifully in little steps in a wheel, it's truly not linear. You might be in, say, the experiential education in an internship step and find that it's really not what you thought, or you're not liking it like you thought you would. And you might have to step back either to work research or even back to self-exploration to kind of learn, what did you learn about yourself, reflect on those new things that you've learned through that internship. You're going to be going back and forth throughout these steps throughout your life and career. So that is to be expected. It's not a failure. Just want to stress that for you right now. Okay, so for RIASEC, this is one tool that can help you understand your interests and how they relate to your career decisions. This acronym stands for realistic, investigative, artistic, social, enterprising, and conventional. And both people and careers can be categorized in these 6 interest areas. We'll share a link to this quick assessment that you can do to help find your top 3 interest areas. And then once you have your top 3 areas, or your 3-letter code, you can use that code to explore some careers of potential interests in something called ONET, which is an online resource for career exploration. We recommend pausing the video now to take this assessment and come back to finish the video when you're done. Okay, so hopefully by now you have your 3-letter code. So we're going to explain what these interest areas are all about. In terms of people, here's how you can understand what these areas mean. So we're going to start with realistic. This is somebody that likes working with things, like working with your hands. So you might work with things like machines, tools, or the outdoors. You like working with tangible objects. Then we have investigative, which is somebody that likes working with ideas a little bit more than things. So think things like researching, analyzing, observing the world around you. If you have artistic in your top 3, this is somebody that has a creative streak. So you might like unstructured environments, self-exploration, using your imagination in your work. For social people, this is somebody that likes working with and serving other people. So think things like teaching, training, counseling. Those are things that you like to do. And then we have enterprising. I also like to think of this as entrepreneurial. This is somebody that also likes working with people, but it's more about leading, influencing, and persuading those people rather than being in service of others. Then finally, we have conventional. This is somebody that likes working with data, likes structured environments, and very detail-oriented work. Okay, so in terms of how these interest areas relate to different careers, here are some examples. So realistic, these careers are the doers. So think mechanics, X-ray tech, engineer as just a few examples. And then we have investigative. Those are the thinkers. So professors are a big one, the people teaching your classes. That's a very investigative career. Also doctors, programmers, and even engineers. And we'll talk about that in a second, why they both showed up under realistic and investigative. Artistic, these are the creators. So it could be a traditional career like writer, actor, singer, but it could also be somebody that just has creativity in the work. So think advertising, marketing, museum curators, things like that. Social, those are the helpers. So those are our counselors, teachers, social work, but even things like human resources where you are helping other people. And then enterprising, those are the persuaders. So think like sales, leaders, so CEOs, real estate agents, politicians, things like that. And then we have conventional, those are the organizers. So think careers like accounting, actuaries, bookkeeping. Okay, so now we're going to move on to what you're actually here for, which is psychology specific careers. So what can you do with a degree in psychology? Anything. So that's not exactly true, but there is a reason that you might hear it a lot. And that's because your major is only a small piece of how you can prepare for a career after you graduate. Your choice of major can lead to a wide variety of jobs, but there are some other factors that are a huge part of your career exploration process as well, that include your experiences and connections. So experiences are things like part-time jobs, club activities, research, internships. These activities can not only help you narrow down the careers that you might be interested in, but they can also make you a competitive candidate for jobs after college. They give you things to fill out your resume, talk about in your cover letter or your interview. Even if you try something out and you end up not liking it, that's still really valuable information that you can use to make decisions moving forward. Experiences also help you build your network. And that brings us to connections. So connections are your network, right? You can build these by getting involved in experiences, but also through attending things like career fairs, going to office hours, or going to on-campus events. And as you build connections throughout your life, you're going to want to add them on LinkedIn. You never know when a connection might help you in the future. Adding them now and building that network on LinkedIn while you're in college will really set you up for success in the future, so you're not having to start from scratch when you graduate. And if you don't have a LinkedIn yet, please make one. Your future self will thank you. Common question that we hear a lot from students is whether choosing a Bachelor of Art or a Bachelor of Science really matters for future career opportunities. The short answer is not particularly, but the longer answer is that it really depends on your goals. The two most common goals after you graduate are either you plan to get a job or you plan to go to graduate school. So if you plan to get a job after you graduate, generally employers care more about your experience, your skills, and your connections than your degree type. So read job descriptions carefully to understand what you need to do to prepare for a future position. And when I say read job descriptions, I don't mean read job descriptions for something you're going to apply for right now. I'm suggesting that you look at career job descriptions for jobs you might want to apply for 1 year, 2 year, even 5 years down the line. Reading what employers are looking for in those fields, then the experiences and the skills can help you figure out what steps you should be taking now to be getting experience to be prepared for a role like that in the future. Now, if your goal is instead to go to graduate school, it's still true that most graduate programs are looking to see that you've completed the prerequisite courses, have strong grades, and have relevant experiences to help prepare you for that program. In many cases, you don't need a specific degree type or even a specific major to go to a graduate program, as long as you've met the prereqs for that program. An advisor can help you navigate which degree type would be best fit for your interests and goals. So if you're still not sure, make an appointment and we can help you out. With all that being said, there are careers that do align more easily with some degree types than others. For the purposes of organizing the information in this presentation, we've divided up the careers by emphasis area. So, Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science with a biology emphasis, and Bachelor of Science with a quantitative emphasis. However, doing one emphasis does not necessarily preclude you from doing a career listed in another emphasis. You might be doing a double major or a minor or have internship experiences or job experience that can help you in working toward career goals. Remember, your career is a combination of your academics, your experiences, and your connections. Talk to an advisor for specific help in navigating all of your options. Here's a bird's eye view of the psychology career pathways that we're going to cover in today's presentation. So we're going to go into all of these in more detail, but this is just an overall view, and they are not categorized by psychology emphasis area. They are just, all of the careers that we're going to talk about. And we'll share a link to this in the description so that you can explore this on your own. Some of them have links to more information, like specialties, and you can zoom in and see all of the different pathways that we're going to talk about and explore which ones you see are the most interesting. So we have our health professions, law, policy, government, technology, communications. Okay, so we are going to start by talking about the career options for the psychology Bachelor of Arts major, the general emphasis. So here's an overview of the career pathways that we're going to be talking about. So counseling and therapy, education, both K through 12 and higher education, business and human resources careers, law, policy and government, and communications and media. Counseling and therapy careers are one of the most common interest areas for psychology majors, but a lot of students don't realize that there are many different ways to go into this field. To start, the most common way to become a counselor or a therapist is a master's level pathway. So in California, after receiving your master's degree, you can obtain a license as either a licensed professional clinical counselor or a licensed marriage and family therapist, LPCC or LMFT. Both of these licenses lead to a career working with clients in a clinical setting, but the focus of your graduate training will be slightly different. An LMFT program will focus a little bit more specifically on the relational and interpersonal dynamics within families, marriages, and couples. There are a lot of different counseling specialties, and we'll share a link to CACREP in the description, which is the accrediting body for counseling programs that outlines all of the different specialty areas. The second master's level pathway is a social work program. A social worker is a very broad career in helping people, and we'll share a link to all the different types of social work careers that there are in the description below. With a master's in social work, you can obtain the LCSW license, which stands for Licensed Clinical Social Worker, and that would allow you to provide counseling services to clients similar to those that have an LPCC or an LMFT license. Finally, there is a doctorate level pathway to this career, which is to obtain a PhD in clinical psychology or a PsyD, a doctorate of psychology. Note the emphasis here on a PhD in clinical psychology. There are a lot of PhD programs in psychology that won't lead to a career working with clients. The PhD program has to be in clinical psychology. There are also a lot of different specialties that psychologists can have that are recognized by the American Psychological Association, and we'll share a link to those as well. Typically, psychologists are a little bit more specialized than counselors or therapists, such as in their theoretical orientation. They may also work with clients that have more severe mental health issues. So that's how it differs from the other master's level pathways. This career is different than the psychiatrist career, and we'll touch on that later. There are also some counseling adjacent career pathways that are very common for our students to go into. Applied behavior analysis, or ABA, is best known as being the leading evidence-based treatment approach for autism and other developmental disabilities. You can actually work as a registered behavior technician, RBT, while you're in college and become a board certified assistant behavior analyst after you graduate with your bachelor's degree. Addiction counseling is another counseling adjacent career that does not require graduate school. There are certificate programs that are available that you can look into, and we'll share a link in the description below. In the education field, we've broken the careers out by K through 12 and higher education. If you are interested in working in the K through 12 setting, you might be interested in some of the following careers. Teacher is the most common one, so you would either get a multi-subject credential if you want to work in elementary school, or a single subject credential if you want to work in the middle or high school level. You might be interested in being an administrator, so that's somebody like an assistant principal or a principal. You might also be a librarian. That's somebody that works with, anywhere from elementary to high school students, doing research, figuring out books that they might need for their projects, things like that. School counselor is another common pathway that our students are interested in. And this is part of the specializations in the counseling and therapy slide that we talked about a couple slides ago. This is somebody that helps students form healthy goals, mindsets, and behaviors. And at the high school level, this role will also help students in making academic and career plans. School psychologist is a separate but related career path that focuses more on assessment, crisis management, and identification of students' emotional and learning needs. If you're interested in working in higher education, here are some possible careers you might be interested in exploring. So academic advisor, that's somebody who's guiding students through academic, career, and life decisions throughout their university experience. There's also student affairs professionals who work to contribute to the personal and professional development of students at a university outside of academics. So this might be somebody that works in, say, a retention center or a residence hall, or somewhere in the chancellor's office, things like that. A professor is somebody that engages in teaching, research, and service at the college level. And a researcher is somebody that focuses more on research. It doesn't usually require teaching. And there are librarians that work at the university level as well. That's somebody a little bit more specialized, is also likely doing their own research in the library field. Moving on to business and human resources. The psychology major can be invaluable to this field by providing a strong foundation in understanding human behavior and interpersonal dynamics, which can enhance skills in things like talent management, conflict resolution, and employee well-being. Human resources is a broad field where you might be responsible for one or all of the parts of an employee life cycle. So from recruiting, hiring, onboarding to training, and ultimately potentially firing employees. You might also process benefits or payroll. We're going to have some sample titles of these on here as well. A recruiter is under the HR umbrella, but it's a really common pathway for students after graduating, so we wanted to highlight it specifically. This is somebody who finds and attracts qualified candidates for a company's job posting. And then training and development is somebody that plans and administers programs that improve the skills or knowledge of employees at a company. Labor relations professionals resolve employee management disputes, negotiate labor contracts, and coordinate grievance procedures regarding worker complaints. A project or a program manager uses creativity and collaboration to design and implement projects for a company's different initiatives. So these initiatives might be something like a company's internship program, or launching a new product or service, or opening a new location. An industrial organizational psychologist is somebody that uses science to make organizations and the people who work in them more effective through things like workforce planning, talent management, training, leadership development, job attitudes and motivation, work team dynamics, diversity, equity, inclusion, and organizational change and development. There are also a lot of business-related careers in technology that can be a good fit for a psychology major. A user experience or UX designer is one that creates a seamless and meaningful user experience by understanding user needs, conducting some research, and designing intuitive interfaces. User interface or UI designer focuses a little bit more on the visual, interactive elements of a product to create aesthetically pleasing interfaces. These careers might be separate, like they're listed here, or they might also be combined as a UI UX designer. The user experience researcher is one who focuses on collecting and analyzing data about user needs, wants, and goals for a product or service, and that research is then used by a UI or a UX designer. Finally, a product designer works with all of the roles above, but they look more at the bigger picture. So how the product fits into the overall market, the overall brand, and the overall organizational goals of the company. Moving on to law, public policy, and government careers, a psychology major can help individuals pursuing a career in one of these fields by honing their critical thinking, research, and analytical skills, as well as fostering that understanding of human behavior and societal dynamics that can inform effective policy making, legal strategy, and governance. So a lawyer is somebody who advises and represents clients on legal proceedings or transactions, and there are a lot of different types of law that one could practice. A policy analyst is somebody that would collect information, analyze effects, recommend policies, evaluate outcomes, and share information with the public and stakeholders. A court advocate is one who offers assistance to victims and any dependents in legal matters relevant to their situation. So some sample fields might involve court cases like domestic violence, family or child, custody cases, even human trafficking. A lobbyist is a professional advocate who works to influence political decisions and on behalf of specific organizations or people. A judge is one who oversees legal matters in court or administrative proceedings. And finally, an arbitrator or a mediator is a professional who facilitates negotiation and dialogue between disputing parties to help resolve conflicts outside of the court system. On to communications and media careers. A psychology major can benefit someone pursuing one of these careers by providing insights into consumer behavior, effective persuasion techniques, and understanding audience motivations, which enhance the ability to create compelling and resonant messages in public relations, marketing, or advertising. Some careers in this field might include advertising or marketing professionals who plan programs to generate interest in products or services. Social media professionals are responsible for collaborating with other marketing and sales professionals to develop successful social media campaigns. And public relations professionals promote or create an intended public image for individuals, groups, or organizations. Okay, So those were the careers relevant to the Psychology Bachelor of Arts major. Now we're going to cover majors relevant to the Psychology Bachelor of Science with a biology emphasis, which is a really common choice for people interested in health careers. A psychology major can aid in a pre-health career by providing a deep understanding of human behavior, facilitating effective communication and empathy with patients. It also equips individuals with insights into mental health, which contributes to a holistic approach in healthcare settings. What differentiates this major from the other psychology major options is the additional STEM coursework required, which fulfills a lot of the pre-health prerequisite requirements. So things like biology, chemistry, organic chemistry, physics, calculus, genetics, and physiology. All of that in addition to the psychology coursework that you take. Here are just a few examples of career fields that psychology majors might be interested in within the health field. So a doctor, either an MD or a DO, and a psychiatrist, like we mentioned earlier, is a specific type of doctor that's received additional training in the field of psychiatry. A physician assistant or associate is one who examines, diagnoses, and treats patients under the supervision of a doctor. A nurse, or an RN, is one who provides and coordinates patient care and educates patients and the public about various health conditions. A genetic counselor is somebody who assesses individual or family risk of an inherited condition, such as a genetic disorder or a birth defect, and they would counsel families through those discoveries. An occupational therapist is one who evaluates and treats people who have injuries, illnesses, or disabilities to help them with vocational, daily living, and other skills that promote independence. And finally, a speech-language pathologist is somebody who treats a lot of different types of communication and swallowing problems, and they work with people of all ages, from babies to older adults. You can visit Health Professions Advising for more information on these careers and even more health-related fields at hpa.ucdavis.edu. A Psychology Bachelor of Science with a quantitative emphasis, this is a common choice for students interested in working with data in some way. This emphasis equips you with a strong background in research methods, statistics, and data analysis, making you well suited for various careers that involve working with data and understanding human behavior. What differentiates this major from the other major options within psychology is the additional STEM coursework required, which provides you with a solid understanding of statistics and data analysis. So things like computer science, statistics, and calculus. Here's just a few examples of careers that might be relevant to somebody doing the quantitative emphasis. So a data analyst is somebody who analyzes and interprets data to help organizations make informed decisions. And they also will probably, at some point in their career, communicate these findings to stakeholders within the company. A government researcher or analyst is somebody who conducts research on social issues to help inform public policy decisions. A quantitative UX researcher applies quantitative methods to study user behavior and improve user experiences. Quantitative psychologist is a specific type of professor or researcher who examines how the statistical models and analysis techniques used in psychological research influence the validity of the scientific inferences that researchers make. And a program analyst is somebody who uses data analysis techniques to evaluate the effectiveness and impact of social programs and interventions. So that concludes our presentation of different career pathways for psychology majors. Of course, no presentation like this can truly be exhaustive. There are so many careers out there and new ones are being created every day. We hope this information at least gets you started on your career exploration journey. So now we want to share some resources for you to further your exploration, and all links are going to be shared in the video description below. We have a psychology career website with links to different career databases, graduate programs, and more. We also have a special page on that website all about therapy and counseling career pathways. We have a pre-filtered list of UC Davis alumni on LinkedIn, so you can see what our alumni are up to. The Internship and Career Center, or the ICC, is an amazing campus resource at UC Davis that offers things like one-on-one career advising appointments. They put on all of the career fairs that we have here on campus. They offer workshops on things like how to find a job, interviewing, networking, and more. And they also have a ton of information on their website for even more career research. Finally, Health Professions Advising is a great resource for students interested in any sort of health field. Thank you so much for watching our career presentation. If you are watching to clear your mandatory advising hold, use this link or a QR code to take the quiz. You do need a 4 out of 5 correct to pass, and you can take the quiz as many times as you need to get that score.